we, we're a minute part of the problem. And that's true. For example, 70% of water use is agriculture. So, I mean, even industry is not a huge piece. That's the wrong way to approach it. What you've got to do is say, water is a problem and it's an issue, particularly in water-starved areas. How do we look at our footprint and minimize that footprint? How do we do the right thing? And yes, other people are not doing it. It's the same as wastewater. Other people are discharging into streams, polluting rivers. We don't do that. Therefore, you set policies and you say, we're going to be the gold standard. Again, you're talking about short-term praying. Costs money. Put you at, to some degree, a disadvantage against some competitors. But long-term, it's the right thing to do. And once you do that, then you start looking at your broader supply chain. What are your suppliers doing? Because now you have a responsibility with regard to that. That's an even tougher task. But at the end of the day, you're then able to engage in what I call blueprint, in actually the policy decisions around what happens with water, to have a voice in the overall water debate. And you see Muhtar taking leadership with regard to that, because largely, not 100% yet, but largely, we've got our own house in order. And the Coca-Cola company is going to be water neutral. We're going to have bottles out there that are 100% biodegradable. That's going to happen. But these are, you come into innovation. That's part of where you do your innovation. And it creates, and I know you're going to go into this probably in another question, it creates a set of values within the company that then are recognized in society as a whole. And when people understand that really you're trying to do the right thing, then it mitigates if you make a mistake. Now, the one that's not solved yet is the whole obesity issue, and somehow or other we've become the whipping boy with regard to that. My answer to that is, we got the answers. That's what Coke Zero was all about. We can give you a zero-calorie product. Consumers are still choosing to take calories. That's a different issue. So we have to convey that message. We can compete in that marketplace. But there's a story where they actually wanted to tax Coke Zero when it's all about calories. People go off in very, very funny directions in these things. So you have to be adversarial. You have to fight your corner, but also you need to help fix the problem, because there is a real problem. Obesity is a huge problem, and therefore we have to, be very clear that we have answers. We're working obviously on alternatives to sugar. We're working with various people there. A lot of that is secret still, but we're trying to reform, find new ingredients where we can reduce the calorie count, and we'll find those solutions. Well, first of all, the starting point is quite simple, and that is that I think you take what I call the triangle of sustainability, and it is governments, civil society, and business working together in a relevant way with their own individual skill sets on being able to solve global problems. So that's the broad framework. And you see it happening to a major degree now with NGOs. Governments are a little behind the curve on it. The next piece is this whole issue of CSR and what I call SRC, socially responsible corporation. CSR very often I'm nothing against CSR, I'm nothing against philanthropy. I mean, very good things being done. But are they core to strategy of the company, and are they long-term sustainable? So the Coca-Cola example is water. When the shareholders say, first of all, why are you spending all this money with regard to water? It's very simple. You say, well, it's a key ingredient. I have to care about a key ingredient. It's not about how much you criticize. It's about you've got to look after a key ingredient. So therefore, all of those efforts are absolutely legitimate. And therefore, you see it. Muhtar is now in the area of water. He's one of the leaders. I don't talk about water anymore. That's a Coca-Cola company issue. But everything we did on water has now been taken to another level by Muhtar. Why? because it's core to the business and it's core to the strategy. Why is that important? Because I see society evolving, and it's not just Western society, looking for the values behind the brands, the values behind the corporation. What do you stand for? And it comes back negatively in terms of looking at where we have failed or alleged to have failed. But it's actually broader than that, because people are looking to see what corporations add to society. And I think that has all been, corporations have been sullied terribly, by the actions of some companies, like you go back to Enron, you go back to what happened in the Gulf, but also, of course, by the financial crisis. And that we are at a stage where the capitalist model, the free market model as well, is being challenged as actually being slightly rapacious, and people losing their faith in it. And unless we are seen to be adding that value back, I think someone's going to undermine the model which actually has brought more people out of poverty and is the only model to really bring people out of poverty and to make this a better world. We're going to lose that, because we're going to lose the average consumer's belief in the model. And the data shows very clearly that is happening. I mean, that's for real. It's for real in this country, in the United States. People losing their belief, and that's because of what a number of corporations have done to be rapacious, actually, and they've let all the others down. But also because we have not invested enough in the value side of it, and we haven't been genuine enough in terms of looking at the issues where we actually do have a footprint, and where we are not reforming our own practices fast enough. And then we've got to show that to society in order to justify the system, which I think is the world's best system. Well, I think my greatest accomplishment is having 5 years which I've really, really loved. Question, I mean, I was asked about my health, not only would I fail, but about my health and what have you. But I was also about the stress of it, because I've never worked harder in my life, and I loved it. And I think being able to be happy and come up with pretty decent results is part of it. But I think probably 2 accomplishments which I'd point to: the manifesto, which is the core strategy, which continues, and the successful succession with Muhtar. Those are the 2. I've already mentioned the one that I really wish I'd done would have been the remodeling of the U.S. business. I don't think I did enough in the U.S. I don't think I really succeeded in the U.S. I got carried by the rest of the business, and that was enough. And now Muhtar is doing the other piece. But I'd like to have that fixed, and I didn't do it.